Hello, New Wave of British Heavy Metal.com here. Today is the 15th of March 2021. If I may make the usual opening request for a favour, and that's if you would please subscribe to the channel, that'd be superb. I'd appreciate that. Right, today we'll look at the new solo album from 10 main man Gary Hughes. It's called Waterside. And it's his first solo album since Veritas, which I think was 14 years ago, something like that. Anyway, what it is typical Gary Hughes. Excellent, well performed melodic rock in typical Gary Hughes style. It's a sort of half a 10 album, I suppose, as well, because we've got from 10, we've got Dann Rosingana on guitar, and man, does he put it in here. And we've also got Darrel Treece-Birch, always as good as ever and reliable on the keyboards, but he also sits on the drum stool for this album as well. So what's it all about? Well, the first track, All at Once It Feels Like I Believe, to me, bit of a questionable choice for an opening track. It doesn't really grab your attention from the off. It's a little bit of a mellow affair, which is pretty much a piano-led ballad with a nice measured guitar solo thrown in. Always feel that it's best to start off with something that does grab your attention from the off. So perhaps Gary might, it's his choice, I suppose, isn't it? But perhaps it would have been better to start with what is track 2, Electroglide, because that is much more of an up-tempo melodic rocker with some really strong hooks and melodies and more tasty guitar work from Dan. Or perhaps even Laydown, which is a similar style to Electroglide, and it's got more of that tasty shredding from Dan as well. The next 3 songs sound a little bit samey to me and a little bit one-paced as well. Nothing wrong with them, they're perfectly well performed and written. Just sound a little bit pedestrian in my opinion. Reasonably tamey ballad type affairs, which listening to it, I feel they could have used a little bit more bite throughout all of them. But even though I'm saying that, check out Dan's solo on the title track Waterside. That's a really nice piece of work indeed. And then you start to think, or I did at least when I was listening to it the first few times, I thought, well, after those 3 tracks, am I going to get more of the same? Is it going to shrink into a little bit of mediocrity and whatnot? But no, it doesn't. Gary changes it all up, steps it up, changes it round, and the next trio of songs could easily have been on the next 10 album. Come on, Gary, sort that one out. I want a 10 album. The 3 of them are punchy, fast-paced rockers, really enjoyable stuff. Really a step up from the previous 3. Video show, the first one of them's got some really interesting lyrics on commenting on today's society, shall we say, and its reliance on, over reliance on all things digital. Save My Soul and Seduce Me, a fine brace of songs, really proper high class melodic heavy metal with more of that superb guitar work from Dan. I mean, check him out on these 2, the cutting riffs, spectacular soloing. He's all over both songs. Well, he's all over the album. It's his album. What a player! What a guitarist! Now, this is a slight criticism, but it's just my opinion, and that's fine. You've got yours, I've got mine. And Gary, over the years, in my opinion, does have a tendency to chuck in a soppy, sugary ballad type affair. And we've got one here on Waterside in closing track, When Love Is Done. To my ears, it sounds a little bit contrived. And although Dan steps up and puts in a nice solo, doesn't save it for me. It's to mine, again, just my opinion, it's a bit of a throwaway song. But if you do enjoy all that kind of stuff, then you'll be perfectly at home with When Love Is Gone. It's not my bag, and that's just my taste, and that's fine. The golden Hughes voice is still there, and it's well suited to this type of stuff. His style and delivery is what it's all about, and his vocals here are nicely measured as well. He doesn't go reaching for notes or overstretching himself. He's always had a great voice and still does. but Dann Rosingana's guitar work for me is the star of the show. He's all over this album. Also, David Rosingana with some really wonderfully melodic bass lines, which could probably have been a bit more up in the mix. And Darrel Treece-Birch, such an excellent, in my opinion, such an excellent and underrated keyboardist. He fills out the sound here in a little bit of an understated way, but still effective. And I always think, listening to Gary's stuff and 10, I always think that Darrel could be a bit more, could have more made of him. He really is such a fine player, and if he was given the opportunity to cut loose a little bit, I'd enjoy that, because he really is underrated, but also good. Overall, Waterside, in my opinion, Gary's strongest and most consistent solo album, other than the superb, epic, proggy concept masterpieces of Once and Future King from about 20 years or so ago. If you can get them, get them. I mean, that's marvellous. But on Waterside, I say, it's for me, it's Gary's strongest and most consistent effort in a solo arena since then. So, Gary, thanks for Waterside. Do enjoy it. But we need a 10 album next, don't we? So get busy, all right? If you'd like to check out Waterside, as always, there's a link below in the description to the album on Amazon. Link back to the post on the website as well if you'd like to read that. So why not do both? And also, please subscribe to the channel before you go. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.